SOS from Ourang Medan. We float, all officers including the captain, dead in chart room and on the bridge. Probably whole of crew dead. I die.
That's cryptic and terrifying.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Iron Kraken podcast, where we discuss mysterious myths, legends of legacy, and fantastic phantasmal encounters. Thank you for sailing with us today. Let's dominate the decks. All right, boys.
Gentlemen, ghost ships. What do we know about ghost ships?
Davy, what?
Davy Jones locker.
I said, it's scary.
Super scary.
Well, I know, like you have the Flying Dutchman, which is like the iconic, ghost
The
ship.
OG.
Yeah, and where you see that mostly is in SpongeBob.
In today's reference, yeah. But, I mean, initially it was like the terror of the sea. You didn't want to really run into Davy Jones and his crew, because it meant certain death.
No, wait a second. I thought Davy Jones was... Wait, who's the...
The octopus guy from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes, but what's his name?
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, so who is in... There's someone above Davy Jones, is there not?
Well, in that movie, it's Calypso.
Yeah.
No, okay, but I'm not talking about Calypso. I'm talking about somewhere... Somebody works for somebody because they got damned to the sea.
Yeah, that's
So it'd be Davy Jones
and
and
for Calypso.
or Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he does
In a
the
traditional
bidding of the
sense,
devil.
yeah.
Okay, I got you now.
Evil.
Evil.
Chocolate. You're selling chocolate.
Anyway,
SpongeBob is amazing, by the way.
Classic.
So you have that reference of like just
Pop culture.
history and lore and pop
Yeah.
culture. But then there's like the other definition of a ghost ship, which is just like an abandoned ship that, for whatever reason, is still floating around the seas due to currents and stuff like that. Like the
Somehow.
So not went aground. Cannot be.
It can be run around and then wash out to sea.
or like half sunk
Yeah.
that people drive past.
But mostly it's like,
Drive,
is it
sail
afloat
past.
and unmanned in the sea?
Yeah, so like the biggest one is going to be like the Mary Celeste.
Which everybody and their mother is covered.
And it's so funny because I heard that today. I had a buddy of mine say, he's like, man, you ever heard of this one? I'm like, it's going to be talked about, I promise.
Yeah, so that's the most well-known one because it's like, I think it's 1870s is when they found it, but it was just this abandoned.
Yeah, it spent the better part of at
1870.
least a year.
But
So they didn't know why like the crew left. Like there was like a
why it was abandoned.
well, that's that definition. So it's an abandoned ship. But the like running theory right now is that it's like insurance, like an old insurance fraud,
Yeah.
or pirates.
Not even kidding. I'm
It
not
could,
even,
yeah, I mean,
But
very well
like
could be part.
the company lost the ship, so that
Yeah.
the insurance company would pay them
Yeah.
for the
Okay.
ship.
Okay.
the argument against it being pirates is that the stuff in the hold was still there, so it was still carrying its cargo.
What was the cargo?
I think it was something flammable.
Always something flammable.
Yeah.
Gunpowder.
I can't remember.
Haven't you
But-
ever seen National Treasure?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it's gunpowder.
But here's another
Trevor
thing.
King.
Here's another thing about it. The logbook was still on board. So when a captain is supposed to leave the ship, obviously captain goes down with the ship is the old thing. But if it's not sinking and you're having to abandon it, the ship's logbook goes with you.
So
It's the record of everything that's done on the ship.
as it should. So my thing is like
Like
where
a black box.
okay, so what was that? The Mary
Mary
Celeste.
Yeah.
Where was that located? Where it got abandoned, or is it still?
It was found halfway across the Atlantic, a little bit closer towards the European side.
Okay, so not near the Bermuda Triangle.
No.
Okay.
No, and on the opposite end, like towards the Arctic, the Bechimo was found in like the 1930s. It had been just like it was frozen and then I guess
Melted
and so it was
let loose.
Yeah, it was continued to drift for decades.
Well, I mean, like, think about it. If you're on a ship and your engines go down,
Well, these are ships without engines.
Yeah,
Pre.
It's during the age of sail.
Sorry. If you're there and your sails go down, you're just a piece of wood in the water. I mean, what do? You
Well,
go.
that's the thing is like
you go and try to find land, or you go and try to find.
You do what you can.
You do what you can to get out of that situation.
Mary Celeste still had its sails.
Yeah, there was like nothing wrong with the ship.
Dude, it had to be.
It had to be something weird.
It had to be pirates.
But they didn't take
anything.
Yeah.
Like everything was still there. So
maybe it wasn't the treasure there. Maybe it was the lives.
I mean, Barbary Pirates. When did the Barbary Pirates? And that was with Americans.
It had to be.
That was in
I think
1840.
So it would have been before this.
Yeah,
I think it had to be something like that, or somebody was
shores of Tripoli.
Yeah.
It could have been that someone was carrying something very specific, or they were after some person. And I mean, this is like a hypothesis. If a pirate was coming and you had something specifically, what better to do with all the witnesses than kill them and dump them into the sea?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter what you got on the board, logbook's still there.
It was one
thing if they were.
Is what you're saying?
Yeah, it had to have been a specific.
It'd be one thing if they were like transporting like the Hope Diamond or something like like small but very valuable. That I could see.
Like a pipe.
From what I know.
Like a pipe.
National
treasure. The key pipe. No, I'm kidding.
From so as far as I know, the ship was built in I think it was Newfoundland, up in Canada, and they were all they were mostly local people manning the ship. So is this ship like a military ship? Or is this is like a transport cargo ship.
So it has
the age.
Then I mean seriously, there must have been something on the ship that, because if it was a military ship, obviously there would have been a battle. Obviously there would have been holes.
Literally, there was nothing wrong with the ship other than the crew was
gone.
Okay.
And that's the weirdest thing about it. That's why it's so famous. Like sometimes you'll have a ship. It's like, yeah, there'll be some that was in a battle that survived being burned partially, or set in the ice, like he said with a Beishimo.
Mermaids.
You never know. I think there was a woman on board.
No, dude.
If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
I think I'll have to double check that. I think there was a woman on board.
Did she survive?
Probably
not. She probably did too.
And then there's the ones where they have certain people missing. They've been out in the ocean and everybody's just like, oh, we don't know what happened.
Where he's going?
Like the Joida, 25 people or something like that were missing. The captain's wife was on the
Sarah Elizabeth Briggs.
This is the Mary Celeste.
Yeah, she died.
Missing. Aboard the ship with their two-year-old daughter Sophia.
Well, that's sad.
And her husband.
That is very sad. Aliens, probably. If I were to be here,
we can't rule that out. Because it's a mystery, we can't rule that out. You never know.
And then
they were bound for Italy. So
bound for Italy.
Yeah.
Then there's one like the Octavius, but they found it with its ship's crew frozen. So
where was this?
I don't know where it was from, but
it had to be somewhere north or south.
Octavius sounds very Greco-Roman.
It is.
So
yeah,
probably,
it is Roman.
Probably European.
Yeah. Roman. Well, I mean,
it's Rome.
You have seen Night Museum, right?
It was found west of.
Octavius.
Found west of Greenland, by the whaler Herald, in 1775.
West of Greenland.
West of Greenland.
That's cold.
But they were found dead and perfectly preserved.
Oh God.
No. Really?
If they're frozen.
How long ago so when were they dead? When was the ship found?
1700.
Okay, so then they were frozen how many years before?
It was 17. I don't know.
Same year.
But they found the entire crew of 28 below deck dead and frozen.
That's wild.
What a way to go. I'd be taking the ship before I burn.
The fact that they froze before there was no cannibalism. So they froze to death fast.
Yeah, it had to have been an overnight thing. An overnight as in
or they got caught in a storm and everybody got wet and then the temperature dropped because it's Greenland.
Yeah. That's crazy.
At that point, because you can't start a huge bonfire in the middle of a ship to warm everybody if it's not built for that.
You'll be down with in the locker soon.
With those goblin sharks.
Oh,
We keep talking about the goblin shark.
Have you never seen a goblin shark?
I have, but I want to know who the crap named that thing.
somebody who knew what they were looking at. Man. Are you kidding me? It's got a mouth that comes out like aliens.
This is what happened. He goes, "That right there is a goblin shark." I guarantee it.
I mean, it's one of the deepest sharks that we know.
Yeah.
It just lives in the pitch black.
So, the Bermuda Triangle. Okay, there's been planes, there's been shipwrecks, there's been abandoned ships, there's been all sorts of things that are happening.
Crazy phenomena.
It's like 500,000 square miles of ocean, right, off the tip of Florida, which is a lot.
It's a wide berth.
Oh, yeah, it's huge, man. In a triangle, in fact. So many people have disappeared, but I think the first recorded was 1812. And I think it was a ship called the Patriot. That shouldn't be on there.
I don't know.
The Patriot was one of the ships that was lost. But even today, like, stuff still happens in 2000 from up to 2020. I think is what the last update was.
And everybody knows about like Flight 19 and
Was it a warship?
all those things.
What, the Patriot?
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's the War of 1812.
Yeah, I mean,
it came
maybe.
back.
if
So I
it was
wonder if
called
they
the
were trying to do
Patriot, it
something.
had to have been something like that. But like planes that go there,
Planes have
I
weird
wanna
phenomena.
know.
Their compasses
so
don't
you
work
right,
right.
but you follow a flight pattern,
Yeah, it's like scheduled. Especially
right?
back before you had like
That's
electronics. You
my
have to
thing,
be
though. You
accurate.
You find the flight pattern.
Mhm.
Who says that was the right flight pattern?
What?
You get what I'm saying? So, like,
No.
you have a flight
Wait.
pattern that follows, right? But if it's a flight pattern that takes you a little bit off the curve, a little bit,
So,
there
like,
goes all
to-
your fuel. You're gone.
Yeah.
You're done. You got nowhere
So
to go.
not flight pattern, but flight path is what you're. So like
Yes,
your
yeah,
flight
flight
path, like trajectory where you're planning to go. But if you
Mhm.
get off of your flight path,
Oh yeah,
I
I get that. But I'm saying if you're following
I was just
someone
clarifying.
else's flight path,
Aviation experts in the audience, please comment on this because we
Please.
are a couple of bozos.
I don't even
that
know.
Don't fly.
I'm my legs are short. I'm close to the ground for a
the
reason.
only thing I know about aviation is probably Top Gun. That's probably the furthest I've gone in aviation. Where it's like I'm gonna hit the brakes, fly right back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I assume.
So what I'm seeing about this, it was the schooner is what it was. It was carrying the daughter of Aaron Burr.
In the Patriot.
It's the schooner Patriot.
Mm.
But they think it disappeared off the coast of North Carolina.
Oh yeah, Theodosia Burr Alston.
Alston. Burr Alston. Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
Huh?
she is not any good apple in a basket.
Oh,
I'm telling you right
Oh,
now.
my goodness. That's an oil painting.
Come on, man.
I don't care.
Not
Whoever did
flat.
that oil paint did it wrong. I'm telling you.
All right. Well, so continue about this. What was your point about the?
Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, there are still ships out there that I think we don't even know about. You know,
It's just still floating.
They're still floating, still abandoned.
Well, I mean, the oceans are vast, and especially like going on the Pacific side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get to Point Nemo; it's the farthest from any landmass, and not hardly anybody.
Nobody goes out
travels
there.
over
No.
there.
Because
So,
if you crash, it's death sentence.
so if you disappear out there's no telling where you'll end up.
I think in the Bermuda Triangle, I think what I've heard, fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure that there is more uranium in the sea in the triangle.
What?
Exactly.
What do you? Well, like, are you saying that it?
Like
that's
that's
seeping,
that's causing
like
the
seeping.
the magnetic anomalies. And,
Probably.
Well, I mean, the
would
radiation
think
would
so.
play havoc with everything.
Yeah.
But
I know
I've
there's
never heard that.
I know there's tales of like methane gas boiling up
Okay,
there.
not
So-
uranium. It definitely was methane
I've
gas.
never heard of
It
uranium.
definitely was methane gas. Sorry, I read that completely wrong. That was on me.
I was like, Man, you'd think.
I was gonna say something so
Hey,
long.
to be fair, the United States has lost multiple nuclear warheads
Oh yeah.
at different times. So
Just gone. We don't know where they went.
So let's just talk about the ships that were abandoned. So the abandoned ships, what was like the most modern date of these ships that were just lost or
Well, it happened. It still happens today.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bermuda Triangle,
yeah.
for sure.
well, not even in the Bermuda Triangle, just like
At sea,
abandoned
yeah.
ships turning into ghost ships. Yeah, it still happens.
Yeah.
Well, and then you think about like if your ship gets invaded by pirates or something, or because I mean, there's still modern day
Oh
pirates.
yeah, ladies and gentlemen,
Lady and
pirates,
gentlemen.
lady and gentlemen, there are lots of events that happen with pirates, and they're like not recorded.
A lot of them go
Yeah,
unnoticed.
a lot of them go unnoticed, but once again, our military is amazing, and they do what they do. But there are things that were unnoticed, even back in 1800s, 1700s. Like things just weren't recorded. Do you know what I'm saying or no?
I'm not following that.
What the?
The military's great. And by the way, things aren't recorded.
Well, it's
Well,
like you have something that's lost at sea, even if it's military, they can go searching and searching and searching and still never find you in the open ocean.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Like
well,
it's really hard to spot survivors.
You're a dot in the
In the blip.
Yeah, I
well,
mean, you
not only that, but once you're adrift in the ocean, like currents and everything
They'll
else,
take you every which way.
wherever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're just praying to
It's
wash
not
up
like you're
on
just
shore.
not like I'm
You don't just go up to shore. You're
Yeah.
all through there.
And you could even be swam around in a circle. You're gone. Like
Yeah.
it's really rough out there, man.
But
Shocks.
the ghost ship sightings, I mean, they continue to this day as far as like these abandoned ships. But then back to like the Flying Dutchman, you also get these reports of the ghost ships, referring to like the phantasmal part of it, where they see these skeleton crews manning these huge ships, basically there to
Skeletons as in beings, not a small crew.
right. But basically they're just there to take you down to the depths.
Yeah. It's their eternal duty.
So the most recent one was the Yang Yu Sing No. 18. It was a Taiwanese fishing vessel that was recorded to be a ghost ship. I don't know where they were.
Probably South China Sea.
Pirates.
Or the Chinese.
I was thinking India, but that's just me.
What?
Why?
I was just thinking India.
Why were you thinking India?
China's the big player over there that has the biggest issue with Taiwan.
Yeah.
So
Taiwan's basically a big island off of the coast of China.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Okay.
Pirates of the Caribbean, Davy Jones, and they used the Kraken. The Iron Kraken, to be exact. It's not true, but the Kraken or whatever, they use the Kraken to take ships, to take lives so that they don't have to do it. Do you think that is true? Where did that even come from?
what, the Kraken?
Yeah, I mean, no.
So-
when did it come? When did it come into play that Davy Jones was using the Kraken?
Okay, so that's Disney.
That's all the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, that's not recorded in any
It's true.
legends.
I believe it. I believe it. I believe in the Pirates of the Caribbean.
All right.
I'm just saying.
Modern day folklore.
Everything is based off of something, dude. I'm telling you.
Well, no.
Kraken, I believe, is like a Swedish word. It's either Swedish or I guess it could be Dutch, but I'm pretty sure it's Scandinavian in origin. But as a monster, I mean that we'll probably save that for another episode.
Yeah,
It is Scandinavian.
Yeah.
it's what?
Scandinavian.
Okay.
What'd you think I said?
Scandinavian.
Yeah, I was like, what?
What did I say?
I was like, first you thought Taiwan was off the coast of India, and then
Okay.
You gotta mix up Sri Lanka.
That's fine.
Sri Lanka. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, outside of the Pirates of the Caribbean,
Giant squids.
So
I'm just reading the last bit of that.
the reference to the Kraken or giant squid comes from, is it the book 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
20,000.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
That was Jules Verne.
Jules Verne,
if I'm not mistaken.
So that's where that reference comes from.
I'll double check that.
But it doesn't matter. We're talking about ghost ships today.
Yeah.
But so there's like pop culture references still about the Flying Dutchman and Davy Jones and all that. But it originated to like basically it was folklore for pirates and whalers, where they see this mysterious ghost ship and they know to turn back because they're going to die if they encounter this ship, right?
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, the rough origins of this comes from like around the Cape of Good Hope, and had to do with the Dutch East India Trading Company.
Is there mirages on the ocean?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where you get the green flash thing. So the green flash in the Pirates movie that you're referencing, whenever they flipped upside down and went to the other plane of existence.
Okay.
So that's an actual phenomenon where you look for the green flash. Once it hits the ocean waters just right, it looks like it's not as extravagant as the movie made it seem, where it's just like lights everything up with green, but it's like it does look green.
Kind of like an optical.
Yeah, it hits the water just right. And
now is that not also just associated with the Dutchman?
Well, it is.
It is. Okay.
But that's why in a lot of pop culture references, if you look at the Dutchman, it's some hue of green.
Yeah.
But that's also to facilitate its look as like, oh, it's ghostly,
spooky.
I mean,
scary,
glowing green, lost a sock, or can't tie a knot. I don't know. Or no, can tie a knot.
The monkey's knot. The monkey's fist. The monkey.
But this whole episode's going to be about SpongeBob and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Hey, it's to be fair, that's what most people know of this.
No, that's true. That's true. But so the ghost ship, like hues of green flash,
kind of calls back to St. Elmo's fire.
St. Elmo's fire. So
do you know what St. Elmo's fire is?
I actually don't.
Okay.
You can talk about it. What's St. Elmo's fire?
Yeah, what is it?
So it's an electrical phenomenon that occurs on the sea where a ship will be blasted by lightning and the very tops of the mast or anything pointing upwards pretty much glows at the very top. It's kind of like
an ember?
No, but
not exactly. It's an electrical phenomenon, kind of like ball lightning almost, if you know anything about that. Okay. So it's very concentrated electrical energy.
Yeah, okay.
Blasting out. And supposedly blue-green or green in its nature. So that's kind of
that
connected
to influence. I wonder if like initially the ship was just cruising down the open waters and then they see another ship that's been struck by lightning and they see this green phenomenon. They're like, oh no, it's a ghost ship because for some reason they referenced the color green.
All these things happening at once for ghostly.
And then the legend kind of spread from there. Do you think that's kind of like a possibility?
I believe that, actually. I think that is the case. Also, side note, my favorite image of St. Elmo's fire is actually a meme of Elmo from Sesame Street blasting fire out like a wizard. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I thought you were going to talk about the one where he's on fire and he's like,
no, it's hilarious. He's got like a white garment on, looks like a Christian saint. It's the funniest thing. But anyway, let's continue.
Well, so like it's hard to continue after that.
Sorry.
Now
I can't help think about it every time I hear the name.
Now I'm just thinking about Elmo.
It's Elmo.
Oh. But so you know, so that ship goes and runs and tells other ships and schooners and whaler ships like, hey, I saw this ghostly green ship.
The word spreads.
And so word of mouth And then over time, the descriptions and whatnot of the Flying Dutchman kind of changed. But like, oh, well, I saw that Flying Dutchman, and it had this crew of skeletons, and it's like, you know who the captain is, right? It's Davy Jones.
They're eternally damned. And
yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Captain Vanderdecken?
No.
I believe that is a Dutch East India captain who may or may not be connected to the origin of the story.
Well, I think it is because the story goes that he made a vow to, like, he was sailing through all these treacherous seas, and he made a vow to keep sailing till Judgment Day if necessary to make it through.
Mm-hmm.
And the devil had overheard him and damned him to the sea
because of a blasphemous oath. Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the Flying Dutchman's described as a ghostly, glowing ship, appearing and disappearing suddenly, specifically in the midst of storms. So there's probably some truth to that as far as like, oh, hey, they saw the shadow of this ship that had been struck by lightning, and it's glowing, and it's giving off this light. But there's also theories that it was just like a mirage reflection of their ship too, as far as like
shadow.
Here's another thing.
Well, not necessarily a shadow, but it's like it's close to the green light, and they hit this mirage and see their own ship being reflected back at them with the green light in the background. And that's the Flying Dutchman, you know. But I think
so. What I've seen is what I'm seeing is there's also, it's not just a green light; it's a red light. So is that what you were talking about? What is it?
The light. Wait,
No.
And almost plan.
Yeah. That's what I've seen.
Oh,
The Phantom ship glowing.
The Phantom ship glowing. Are you talking about just like with the green flash?
The origin, yeah. Just like all those things happening at once, and
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. To me, what's more frightening are the actual abandoned ships floating around, because there's always an air of mystery of like what happened to the ship,
like a modern metal
where's the
steel vessel.
Yeah, just like
oh
look, it's landed off the coast of wherever,
and all the paint's all been worn off and it's rusted. And,
nobody knows how long.
Yeah.
I guess you can search a VIN number like a car. I don't know I don't know where a VIN number would be on this shit, but
it's usually painted on the side.
Is it really?
Yeah, they mark them that way.
I'll be dogged.
That's why
cheaper to paint it than to like imprint it on.
That's why when you go register your boat with like the aquatic DMV,
you have to have a name.
You have to have the stickers on the side for like big freighter ships and stuff. They're usually hard painted.
Should have known that. Should have known that.
But what do you like? What would you more like to encounter in the open ocean? You're sailing, it's dusk, all of a sudden there's a ship.
I don't want to encounter the Dutchman.
I think if it's like the true Dutchman, like it'd be cool
to escape it alive somehow.
So I'm trying to think of everything that I know about the Dutchman and just throw that away and just think of just being out there and you see glowing and things like that.
You should, because you got most of it from the SpongeBob.
Yeah. Dude, it's good. Good information.
Remember in that he throws him into like another dimension.
That baby
remember that?
Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that again.
This is basically like damnation.
Yeah.
Tortured soul.
But my thing, like, if I don't know and I see a ship, I'm be like, it depends, like, what kind of situation I'm in. Like, if I'm running low on fuel or my engines are down or something like that, I'll be like, hey, come get me.
Yeah, send out the flares.
Shoot that
SOS.
If that thing turns around, I don't know what's that, then guess I'm going to Davy Jones' locker. I don't know.
Gotta try it.
Going to Davy Jones' locker to hang out with the lizard people.
No, I'm a believer, and I'm going to heaven. So,
but to me, I think that just like if you're out on the open ocean and then all of a sudden you encounter this just abandoned ship, still got all of its cargo, no crew, electronics are still on, everything like that. It's just that mystery of like, am I in danger because of what happened to this ship? Is the ship even from around here? Why has nobody like reported this ship? You know what I mean? That to me just opens up the whole like mystery of the mind. Uh, in that event, like my mind would be racing of like all these different possibilities, all these different things, and the mystery would drive me nuts.
Do you know?
It would frighten me to know.
If you go up to a ship and it's running and no one's there, I'd pee my pants. There's just no. I mean, I wouldn't even be. I'd be like,
dude, I saw a video. Somebody did that like last couple of years. I'm not even kidding.
You're joking.
I'm not even kidding. They ran up on one of those fishing, like deep sea fishing vessels.
Like a charter ship?
It's just running.
Stop.
And there's no one on.
Stop.
I'm not even kidding.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's just running.
They called the authorities and everything. Like, there's nobody on board.
Found. Nobody was found. Nothing.
That dude got eaten. I mean,
it's just
if
it's
you're out
creepy,
on the open
man.
ocean, there's only certain possibility of things that can. If somebody came across you and did you harm, the wildlife did you harm, or the third option that's not the best thing you did. You fell overboard or something. You know what I mean?
You made a mistake.
Yeah.
In the wild.
I mean, you got treasure seas. I guess you try to save somebody, you accidentally fall over, then you're all out, and then you're watching your ship
coast away without you.
I mean, you have like the crab fisher people that go into the North
Deadliest catch, man.
That's not the Siberian.
I don't know.
I don't remember what it was.
No,
it's
I'm
not
blanking on it.
It's not the Balkan.
No.
I don't know. But anyway, so like that happens all the time where they fall over. The Bering Sea.
Yeah.
Where those people like fall overboard. But like if that happened to an entire crew.
You said it 3 times before the podcast, so that's why I was.
Oh.
Did you?
Yeah, you said it 3 times before the podcast.
It used to be called something else back when Russia still owned Alaska. It was
well, that's where they're sailing. The deadliest catch is somewhere across Alaska.
That's the Bering Sea.
Yeah, Bering Sea. I think it's in one of those shanties we listened to.
Yeah.
Which one? There's a million.
There's amazing.
Hold on.
What?
There's an amazing of them.
What are you talking about?
There's an amazing amount of them.
There's an amazing of them?
Yeah. I just didn't want to say an amount. So I said an amazing of them.
Kamchatka. The Kamchatka Sea. That's what it used to be called.
That reminds me, there's an episode of Stargate SG-1, and this alien, that's his words. Come try.
Kamchatka. Stargate SG-1 is based off of true stories.
Wormholes. That's a different.
ancient history.
It is a very different podcast. It's true. It's true.
Space.
Are you familiar with the story of the Ourang Medan? Or Medan?
Mm-mm.
So this is a ship, if I'm not mistaken, it was found in the South China Sea. I think that's correct. I might be wrong, but I think that's correct. If I'm not mistaken, it was also like a Dutch whaling, no, not whaling, cargo vessel. It was a cargo vessel. It was found with all of the crew dead. They tried to tow it. It's back in the 40s. They tried to tow it to bring it back to port. And right as they were starting to leave, it blew up. So all the crew's dead.
Well, that
nobody knew why. Nobody knew why it blew up, and it sank. Yeah.
No, I've never heard of that.
And like, there's a whole bunch of like conspiracies and different theories on it.
You said it was in the South China Sea.
I think it was in South China Sea.
But that makes me think of pirates. I mean, was anything?
Maybe.
Because I guess they wouldn't have been able to tell if anything was missing, and that would. I mean, if they rigged it to blow up, you know what I mean? Did you ever see the movie? What was it? Jackie Chan movie.
Dragon?
No, it's not Dragon.
Yes, it is.
Something A.
I know what you're talking about.
But I mean, he went by Dragon in the
you.
movie.
Yeah, they had a really like creepy SOS message, and so the people that were coming thought it was going to be a whole live crew. They were all dead on board. I think the last message was, "I die,
I die.
I die."
Project A.
Project A. I knew it was
That was a good movie.
that is a creepy message too.
Yeah,
Wait, say
the
that
whole
again?
thing.
Say it again?
So the last message of the Ourang Medan, it was the radio operator sent it out. Said, "I die."
Was the
They
last
were like talking about how there were problems on the ship, and then I die, and that was it. They had no more
Did
messages.
it list out like what problems were? Were they like mechanical, or was it just like vague messages of like danger?
Okay, so this was it translated or what? Or was that like English I die?
That would have been translated.
Okay, and what? Like
Yeah.
Japanese?
Probably Chinese.
No.
I don't know.
Because I think
what was the origin?
I think they had a mixed crew. Hold on. SOS from Ourang Medan. We float. All officers, including the captain, dead in chart room and on the bridge. Probably whole of crew dead. I die.
That's cryptic and terrifying.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Uh,
Okay.
That still makes me think like pirates.
It
Then.
has to be pirates. And
But they didn't say anything referring to anything.
Well, if you only had a second to type it out, I mean, that's what I wouldn't have been like. I'd have been like, "Hey, everybody's dead." You know what I mean? Like, I'm dying next. And then if you die,
you die.
you can't think.
The exact cause of deaths and the fire remains a mystery, with theories from toxic gas exposure to paranormal stuff. But they inspected the crew's bodies as they boarded,
And there wasn't like any outward show of.
That's full or anything? Nothing. No toxic gases anywhere?
They didn't see it.
What time period was
This
this?
is the 40s.
The 40s?
1940s. So this is
Pre-war.
I'll find out.
Like
47.
47 post-war?
Yeah.
That sounds sketchy.
Yeah.
I die.
It sounds like somebody might have been testing something. I don't know.
It wasn't a Philadelphia experiment, as far as I know, but yeah, no, it's the whole story's creepy. It seems like there's a whole lot of mystery wrapped around it. Nobody can really figure out anything.
Is that an engine or steam or
that would have
been diesel.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Post-war 47, everybody had converted to.
What's the weather like on the ocean? Cold?
Well,
I mean, the South China is notoriously treacherous as far as like weather goes.
Okay, well,
but I can't see them. Like, they were all found on board.
Well, the only thing I could probably think of is like, I forgot what kind of gas it is. You turn your car on in the garage, you shut the garage doors.
Carbon monoxide.
Something like that. Yeah, there is a toxic gas exposure.
Well, I mean, if
diesel fuel is
but the only thing is like, unless they were all
on the deck.
Yeah, but if they were all on the deck, I mean, you're not going to get
maybe
that
not all of them,
exposure.
but a good portion of them were on the upper deck.
The ones in the cabin, I could see because that's a confined space, and if they all start passing out at the same time, they're going to die. But
I do know that there was a video game made about this. It was
pretty well received.
Yeah, it was part of an anthology series.
Yeah,
but it was all like super extreme. Like
it's the horror game.
Yeah,
I know what is the name of that.
I played a horror game before.
I played a horror game before.
I have played one horror.
I haven't. I ain't
played it since. I ain't played it since,
man. I screamed like a girl, dude.
I bet.
No, I do know what you're talking about. It was a good game. Yeah. But what?
There's something so fun. I played two. I played
the second one.
So you have played that?
Now listen.
So you remember the story?
Yeah, basically this guy gets dropped off from a helicopter onto the ship to figure out what happened to the crew, and then unless we're talking about two different ones, but it ends up being like a paranormal game.
Yeah,
paranormal horror, okay. Where this creature had taken over the ship and like assimilated the crew into being part of the creature. It was an indie horror game. This is what I'm talking about. I don't know if it's the same one, but
I don't think we're thinking the same game.
Oh,
but that
game was good too.
Yeah.
But it's the same mask. Like the ship was running and everything. Like nothing was wrong. Like outwardly, the ship looked fine. It was a ghost ship.
Okay.
But
did you play that game? with the what
That's
are
very
those,
descriptive.
what are those goggles called?
VR.
Yeah, the Slender Man. The Slender Man.
Brother,
The Slander Man. Now that would be a funny parody right there. He just leans behind the trees and says slurs at you.
yeah, so, the Slander Man.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like,
I played that.
You,
game.
sir, are a tart.
I played that game, and I was running it, and all of a sudden I turned around.
In VR?
Not there.
They have it in VR? Brother, I played the
Jacob,
original.
Jacob, we
the
had
old.
we had it. We had that game. Do you not remember that? We got it at Christmas. And we played it, and I played it. And
What,
I
The
never played it
Awakening?
again. No, I
We
don't
never
know
had.
what it was.
We
Yes,
had
we
VR?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We put Jacob.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. They weren't actual VR, but it was basically like you inserted your phone.
It was,
into this goggles.
it was scary as crap. I don't want to tell you.
Was it like the OG version, or was it like a different game?
I don't remember playing that one.
It's pretty dang scary. That's pretty something, OG, isn't it?
The ones that I played on that thing were like in the ocean. Actually, it was like you were in a shark cage.
Oh, that's scary in its own.
What do
way.
you do with that?
Huh? You're in a shark cage.
Have you ever?
You had to do certain tasks.
You know what a shark cage is?
You go into a shark cage and in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't think that's terrifying?
You couldn't catch me doing it in real life. That's
No.
why I did it.
That's actually one of my bucket list items.
Really?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
The thing is, like,
I'll go to space, but I won't.
the fear part in me is like, those are most of my bucket list items.
Okay.
I don't really have I wouldn't say I don't have a fear part. I do, but I'm not like.
My name's Jordan. I'm not afraid of nothing.
That ain't true. I'm definitely afraid of things, but like the adrenaline part of it makes it not. Makes it not, the adrenaline part of it makes it not scary.
Yeah.
So like riding a bull, like it looks terrifying. People flip upside down, break their neck, stuff like that. I'd be like, let's go try it. You know what I mean?
I don't. Oh, the game to the ship that you were referring to. What was
The Ourang Medan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean that would absolutely be terrifying.
Yeah,
especially if you're like, we're gonna figure out what happened to the ship, and then it just explodes behind you.
Bursts into flame. They can't do anything about it. They're in the ocean.
It sounds like mischief to me, is what it sounds like.
Oh yeah. 47, rife with mischief.
Very much.
So who knows what really happened, but it's nobody that tried to save them.
Alien.
Or anybody else.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us in Dominating the Depths. Stay tuned for part 2. It's coming at you soon. May the winds forever be in your sails. Godspeed.